So let's now change a little bit. We heard about damage caused by HLB to the plants, and it's also translates into symptoms that we see in the plant. Defoliation, declining of the plant, reduction of the root system and all. And then we have fewer fruit, or, and fruit is stained, of a lower size, smaller size, and also we have fruit drop. So here we have the physiological drop for healthy plants varying from 3 to 8%. Here we have a drop in asymptomatic branches, diseased plant. That is, as plant gets more diseased and the disease increases in severity, 20 to 30% of the canopy affected, then this drop will also increase in symptomatic branches from 7 to 46%. And in symptomatic branches, this drop varies from 60 to 80%. So as the plant gets more diseased, fruit drop increases, both for branches that are symptomatic, but also for branches that are asymptomatic. The survey was carried out by the crop estimate team for the last 2 years. We have seen that among all factors causing fruit drop, especially those that are natural, mechanical, or related to diseases or pests, like HLB, fruit borer, fruit fly, black spot, leprosis, and citrus canker, the importance of HLB has increased in the last 2 years, moving from 1.37% to 4.06%. That is a fruit drop related to HLB that is becoming much more worrisome, because that clearly means that although the number of plants with the disease in our citrus region is stable or has a little upward trend, plants that are there being kept in the citrus region are getting increasingly more diseased, causing increased production losses and fruit drop. So for us to assess the impact of HLB in production, basically this impact and the speed it happens within the grove will depend on 4 factors. First, yield of the grove. Second, the progress of the incidence of diseased plants, that is, amount of diseased plants along time in your grove. Third, the progress of the disease severity in the plant, how the canopy is being taken by symptoms of the disease. And fourth, the relationship between severity and production, that is, production loss or fruit drop. The first factor, that is the production of the growth, that will depend directly to citrus growers, cultural practices, soil conditions, combination rootstock and scion, planting density. So that is something where the citrus grower may interfere in to increase their yield. The second is the progress of the incidence of disease plants. That will depend both on the action of citrus growers towards reducing the exposure of tissues to the infection. That depends on the management, number of insecticide applications, reduction of the inoculum within the farm, and also the external management, external to the farm, that is at a distance from the grove, or as related to other citrus plants that may have the bacteria, and also where there is the presence of the psyllid in a non-controlled way. So that is dependent on what I do on my farm, and also the external management to the farm. So that is something I can control in a way. Now, the question is, how's the progress of the severity of symptoms within a diseased plant? This is the first branch with a symptom. And how will this then turn into this plant that is totally affected with the low production? Well, to study that, we carried out this work for 5 years with different canopy varieties Hamlin, Pera, Valencia, Natal, mainly. Different rootstocks, rank per Swango, Volcamerian, and Cleopatra, and with different age groups varying from 4 to 12 years of age in different plots. We carry that out in 3 different regions, Pirajuí, São Manuel, and Analândia for 5 years. And the plots selected, they all had good nutrition, good yield, although they had different fertilization, irrigation, pruning practices. And that was important for us to increase diversity. In each of the groves, we selected 30 plants with initial severity less than 10% of the canopy affected with symptoms, only one branch. And then on a monthly basis, we assess the severity of the disease in those plants. And the results, this is an average of our curve for all groves. We could see that in average, in the first year after symptoms appeared, we had 23% of the canopy affected by symptoms. Second year, 35%. Third, 44%. In the fourth year, after symptoms appeared more intensely, the disease would take 50% of the canopy. And here, so on and so forth, until 66%. So the increase in speed of the disease affecting the plant is really fast in adult plants, mature plants. And of course, there is variation among plants. Here we have the curve of the minimum, and here's the curve for the maximum. And then we compare the progress rate between different canopy varieties and different rootstocks and ages. And we could not see any significant difference for 4 varieties studies, for 5 rootstocks, and for age groups in relation to the progress of severity of the disease in mature plants above 5 years. Okay? Second, or rather, the fourth factor is the relationship between production of the diseased plant as compared to the production of a healthy plant. How that varied then along time among different variety groves, rootstocks, and age groups. And that was the average response that we had. First year, severity 10%, relative production of 83%, that is 17% less than the healthy plant in terms of production. Now, when we have severity coming up to half of the canopy of the plant, then we reduce the production in more than 60%, 62% in fact, reduction of production. And as we increase severity, then we reduce production even further with the increased fruit drop. This relationship, that is this beta factor here among canopy varieties, showed no significant difference. That is, the speed of progression of the disease would be independent of the canopy, but will depend on the age of the plant. The older the tree, the lower this beta value. So it takes longer for the plant to reduce production. That's what we could see. That's what we observed. In general, we can come to this figure here that shows that a plant here is producing 100% of its capacity. It's a healthy plant. First year, we have a decrease of 17% of production. Second year, disease plant, 35% production reduction. The third year, 44%, and then so on and so forth, 53% and 60% in the last year here assessed. That is the reduction of production for this plant as compared to a healthy one, a healthy grove. So we tested different nutrition, different rootstock and varieties. The response is in 4 years, half of the plant's going to be taken by symptoms, and then your production for that plant will represent less than 40% of the production of a healthy plant. However, it's not only the production that matters. As we increase severity of the disease, the greening, fewer healthy fruit is harvested per plant. However, not all fruit that is diseased will drop. We still have 20 to 30% of diseased fruit remaining in the plant. So they are harvested and they may come to the processing plant. And we do know that diseased branches will produce fruit with lower quality. Several studies carried out in Brazil and the States, especially in Florida, show that fruit from branches that have symptoms that can even be harvested, they have greener rind, lower weight, lower content of juice, less total soluble solids, and lower bricks with low sucrose. We have a higher acidity in the fruit, lower ratio, soluble, and in terms of acidity, more limonoid that are bitter, that is more limonene and nomelin, more aromatic compounds like volatile terpenoids, and more astringent flavonoids, that is a lower quality fruit produced from fruit harvested from disease affected branches. So it's more astringent, bitter, and acidic juice. So a study carried out in Florida has shown that they would take juice from plants that were affected by symptoms and juice from healthy plants. They would mix it in different proportion. And when we had above 25% of juice from symptomatic plants, HLB symptomatic plants, then those tasting this juice could notice changes in the juice and quality of the juice. They noticed that the juice was changed in quality and flavor. So here, what the message is, we have to choose our way. If we keep plants diseased in the field, our juice is going to be of lower quality and our production is going to be increasingly lower. So we want to keep our full harvest. We do not want to have half a harvest. And this is just, a quick research at or search at FAO website, and we see that in Central America and Asia, and also in the States and Florida, yields will not go up above 500 boxes per hectare. So is that yield sustainable, economically speaking? I don't think so. So this is the alert that I'd like to leave you. And the question is, if greening a long time decreases production, decreases yield, so is that good for the business? No, right? So that's what I'd like to say. Thank you.